The underground market of Port Vexes hummed with greed and desperation. Flickering hololights cast sickly blue shadows across, faces of buyers who had come for things the Galactic Alliance had declared illegal to sell. Rare animals, banned tech, and worst of all people. Lyra stood on the raised platform, her purple skin dulled by days without proper nutrition. The thin shift they'd given her barely covered her body, deliberately displaying her to the hungry eyes below. A crude metal collar around her neck, connected to a chain bolted to the floor. Her silver eyes, luminous even in her weakened state, scanned the crowd with defiance rather than fear.
Next up.
A Selleran female, announced the auctioneer. A greasy-haired man with cybernetic implants crawling up his neck. Rare specimen since the war. Good for work, pleasure, or research. Bidding starts at 5,000 credits. In the back of the crowd, Devin Reeves pulled his hood lower. He hadn't come for the auction. He'd come to meet a contact about smuggling medical supplies to the outer colonies. But the contact was late, and now he found himself unable to look away from the woman on the platform. 7,000, called a voice to his right. A corpulent merchant with rings on every finger raised his bidding paddle. 8,000, countered another. Devin felt his stomach turn. 6 years flying the border worlds had hardened him to many things, but not this. Never this. His hand drifted to the blaster concealed beneath his jacket. Look at those eyes, whispered a man nearby. Bet she's wild in bed. Sellerans are telepaths, you know. They can feel everything you feel. Devin clenched his jaw. The Selleron homeworld had been destroyed in the resource wars. Survivors were rare, scattered across the galaxy, many ending up in situations like this. 12,000, called a new voice. A tall figure in military uniform alliance. Insignia removed, but still recognizable by the cut of the cloth. Lyra's eyes narrowed at the military man. Her hands curled into fists at her sides, but she didn't speak. The rules were clear. Merchandise didn't talk unless ordered to. Going once, going twice, began the auctioneer. 20,000, Devin called out, surprising himself as much as the crowd. Heads turned to look at him. The auctioneer's eyebrows rose. 20,000 from the gentleman in the back. Do I hear 21? The military man frowned, assessing Devin with cold eyes before raising his paddle. 25,000. Devin stepped forward, letting his cloak fall open just enough to reveal the insignia of the Crimson Corsairs on his belta, Magora's smuggler brotherhood known for their ruthlessness. It was a bluff. He'd only worked with them once, but the military man wouldn't know that. 30,000, Devin said, voice carrying clearly. In platinum credits. Now, the military man's eyes widened slightly before he backed down with a curt nod. Sold. The auctioneer slammed his gavel down. Collection at the back? As Devin approached the collection point, Lyra watched him with wary eyes. Not grateful, not relieved, just calculating, assessing the nature of her new owner. Her dignity remained intact, despite everything they'd done to break her. Little did she know, Devin had no intention of being anyone's master, and by morning the chains that bound her would be nothing but a memory. The transfer station smelled of antiseptic and fear. Devin counted out the platinum credits, feeling the auctioneer's greedy eyes following his every move. Behind a reinforced glass barrier, Lyra waited, her shoulders squared despite the exhaustion evident in her posture. Paperwork's done, the clerk said, sliding a data chip across the counter. She's all yours. Warranty only covers physical defects, not behavioral issues. Devin pocketed the chip without a word. A guard unlocked the barrier and roughly pushed Lyra forward, still collared and chained. As her eyes met his, Devin saw not submission but a carefully banked fire. Follow me, he said gruffly, aware of watching eyes. He gripped her chain, hating the feel of it in his hand, and led her through the warren of corridors toward the docking bay. Once aboard his ship, a modified Kestrel-class runner with more hidden compartments than legitimate, cargo space, Devin immediately reached for the collar around her neck. Lyra flinched back, her silver eyes flashing with sudden fear. I'm removing it, Devin explained, hands raised in a placating gesture. You're not my property. I'm getting you out of here. Suspicion flitted across her features. Why? Her voice was hoarse from disuse, but carried a musical quality that hinted at her native tongue. Before he could answer, proximity alarms blared. On the view screen, a military-grade cruiser was requesting docking authorization from port control. "That's our cue to leave," Devin muttered, sliding into the pilot's chair. "We can talk after we're in hyperspace. Strap in." To his surprise, Lyra moved quickly to the co-pilot seat, her slender purple fingers dancing over the controls with practiced ease. "Rerouting auxiliary power to thrusters," she said. "Not waiting for permission?" Devin shot her a questioning look as the engines roared to life. "I was a navigator," she said simply. "Before." They blasted out of the docking bay just as the military cruiser was extending its boarding ramp. The Starhawk shuddered as it broke atmosphere, the gravitational pull fighting against their escape. "They're in pursuit," Lyra reported, scanning the readouts. "Weapons, systems, charging." Devin's hands flew over the controls. "Let's see how they like this." He punched a sequence that released a cloud of sensors scrambling particles behind them. The cruiser fired, but the shots went wide. Devin pushed the ship into a tight spiral, diving toward the shadow of Port Vexus's second moon. As they emerged on the other side, he activated the hyperspace engine, stars stretched into blue-white lines, and the crushing sensation of hyperspace enveloped them. They were safe for now. With trembling hands, Devin finally used a magnetic key to remove Lyra's collar. It fell to the deck with a clank that seemed to echo throughout the ship. Lyra rubbed her neck, her silver eyes studying him. "You still haven't told me why." Devin leaned back in his chair, suddenly exhausted. "Because some things are wrong no matter which side of the law you're on." A ghost of a smile touched her lips. "You're a smuggler with principles, rare. Don't spread it around. Bad for business." Stood, offering her his hand, not grabbing, just offering. Devin Reeves, captain of this glorified junk heap. After a moment's hesitation, she placed her hand in his. "Lyra Valsorin, last daughter of a dead world." Their eyes met, and something unspoken passed between them, an understanding that neither was what circumstances had tried to make them. "Welcome aboard, Lyra," Devin said softly. "Let's find you some real clothes and food. Then we need to discuss where you want to go." "Go." The words seemed to startle her. "You're free," he reminded her. "Your path is your own now." The abandoned mining station orbiting Hephaestus, the seventh groaned with the echoes of its former occupants. Solar panels hung at odd angles, collecting just enough energy to maintain minimal life support. It wasn't comfortable, but it was invisible to standard Alliance scans. Exactly what they needed. 2 weeks had passed since their escape from Port Vexus. 2 weeks of dodging patrol ships, changing course randomly and sleeping in shifts. The bounty on their heads had tripled Lyra for being an escaped purchase and Devin for theft of valuable property. In the station's former mess hall, Lyra sat cross-legged on a makeshift bed of storage blankets. Wearing a flight suit Devin had modified to fit her slender frame, her purple skin had regained some of its luster, and she'd twisted her silver-white hair into an intricate braid. "Your wound needs cleaning," she said, gesturing to the gash on Devin's arm, souvenir from their latest close call with bounty hunters. Devin winced as she applied a clear salve that smelled of herbs and something alien. "What is that stuff?" "Celeron healing gel. I made it from the plants in your hydroponic bay." Her fingers were gentle against his skin, a stark contrast to the clinical precision of her movements. "I was a healer before the war, healer who knows how to navigate a starship." A sad smile touched her lips. "On Solora, all children learned the stars. Our people were wanderers before we settled." Her voice grew distant. "I was finishing my medical training when the Alliance came for our crystalline caves. They said they needed the minerals for their new hyperspace engines." Devin felt shame wash over him. "I was there," he admitted, the words heavy on his tongue. "Not on Solora, but on Talos Prime." "Another resource acquisition?" "I was a mercenary for the Alliance." He expected her to pull away, to look at him with hatred. Instead, her silver eyes searched his face. "And now you smuggle medicine to colonies the Alliance ignores. doesn't erase what I did. He looked down at his scarred hands. I watched them tear apart a village for mineral rights. Did nothing. That night I walked away, never went back. Lyra's fingers brushed against his jaw, tilting his face up to meet her gaze. We are all more than our worst moments, Devin Reeves. The air between them charged with something neither was ready to name. Her hand lingered against his cheek, and he fought the urge to turn his lips to her palm. A proximity alarm shattered the moment. Devin jumped to his feet, rushing to the command console. Alliance Patrol, he reported grimly. Standard sweep. If we power down completely, they might miss us. Lyra joined him at the console, her shoulder brushing his as they worked in tandem to shut down all non-essential systems. As darkness enveloped them, the temperature began to drop immediately. Now we wait, Devin whispered. In the darkness, Lyra's hand found his. Not out of fear, he realized, but as an offering of comfort to him. Tell me about the stars where you grew up, she asked, her voice soft in the blackness, as the patrol ship's searchlights swept past their hiding place. Devin spoke of his childhood on the farming colony of New Ithaca, of nights spent staring at constellations and dreaming of flight. Lyra listened, her thumb tracing circles on the back of his hand. When the danger finally passed and minimal power was restored, neither mentioned the intimate gesture. But something had shifted between them, a bridge, forming across the vast differences of their origins. That night, as they slept in the same room for safety, Devin woke to find Lyra trembling with nightmares. Without thinking, he moved to her side, drawing her against his chest. You're safe, he murmured against her hair. I've got you. In her sleep, she curled against him, her breathing gradually steadying. Devin remained awake long after, watching starlight play across her face, wondering at the strange path that had brought them here and where it might yet lead. The jungle planet Verdant wasn't on any official charts exactly why Devin had chosen it as their next hiding place. Ancient ruins dotted its surface, remnants of a civilization long vanished. The Starhawk rested in the shadow of a massive stone temple, its hull partially camouflaged by vibrant foliage. Ion storm approaching, Lyra announced, studying the ship's weather scanner. Atmospheric interference will make tracking us impossible. Communication, Devin added, shouldering a pack of supplies. We should wait it out in the temple. The ship's shielding won't hold against a direct hit. Outside, the air hung heavy with moisture and sweet-smelling pollen. Distant thunder rumbled as they made their way up Moscow-rid stone steps to the temple entrance. Massive carved doors stood partially open, as if waiting for them. Inside, the temperature dropped noticeably. Filtered light streamed through gaps in the ceiling, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. The main chamber rose 3 stories high, with strange symbols etched into every surface. Lyra traced her fingers along one carving. These look like star charts, she murmured. This place was sacred to them. Good taste, Devin said with a half-smile. I've always found more comfort in stars than gods. They set up camp near a natural spring at the chamber's center. As the storm intensified outside, violet lightning illuminated the temple in strobing flashes, casting dramatic shadows across the ancient walls. Your people, Devin began hesitantly, as they shared a meal of reconstituted rations. You said they were wanderers. Do you think any survived? Besides you. Lyra's silver eyes reflected the dancing light from their portable heater. Perhaps. We had outposts on several moons. But without our homeworld, you're not alone anymore, Devin said softly, the words escaping before he could consider them. Their eyes met across the small flame. The temple around them seemed to hold its breath. When you first saw me, Lyra asked, chained like merchandise, why did you really intervene? Devin looked down at his hands. I told myself it was atonement. For the villages I helped destroy. But that wasn't all of it. What else? Something in your eyes? Not defeat. Not surrender. Like you were waiting. I was, she whispered, moving closer until barely a handspan separated them. For someone who could see me, not as property, not as victim. As equal, the storm outside reached its peak, a deafening crash shaking the very foundations of the temple. In that moment, Devon reached for her, his fingers brushing her cheek with reverence. Lyra, he breathed, her name like a prayer on his lips. She leaned into his touch, her purple skin warm against his palm. We are both fugitives, she murmured. Both running, perhaps. We could run together. Their first kiss tasted of stardust and possibility. Gentle at first, then deepening with months of unspoken longing. Her silver hair fell around them like a curtain as she moved into his embrace. Outside, the storm raged on, but within the temple walls, they created a sanctuary of their own. Bodies entwined, they shared whispered confessions between kisses. His rough hands learned the contours of her body. Her gentle touch healed wounds deeper than flesh. As they lay together afterward, Lyra traced the scars on his chest, each one a chapter in his troubled history. The past doesn't define us, she whispered against his skin. Only what we choose now. In response, Devon pulled her closer, their heartbeats synchronizing like binary stars locked in orbit. For the first time in years, he felt something dangerous blooming in his chest. Hope. The market on Helios Station hummed with activity, a crossroads for traders legal and otherwise. Devon moved through the crowd with practiced ease, haggling for parts they needed to reach the distant Verge colonies. Rumored sanctuary for those seeking to disappear from Alliance records. 3 months had passed since that night in the temple. 3 months of close calls, shared laughter, and nights spent planning a future neither had dared imagine before. Circuit board secured, Devon murmured into his cum unit. Heading back now. Be careful, Lyra's voice replied. I'm picking up unusual cum traffic near our docking bay. Instinct made him duck into a side corridor, hand drifting to his blaster. That's when he saw them, Alliance military. The same uniforms from Port Vexus, and leading them, the military man from the auction. Commander Vex, a voice called from behind him. Devon turned to find himself facing a merchant he'd dealt with earlier. The man's eyes gleamed with greed. I believe you're looking for a smuggler and a purple-skinned alien woman. I may have information. Devon's blood ran cold. He activated his emergency signal 3 clicks on his cum unit. Back at the Starhawk, Lyra received the warning. Without hesitation, she initiated the emergency protocols they'd established, prepping the ship for immediate departure. But instead of taking the pilot's chair, she grabbed a blaster and headed for the exit ramp. Devon was cornered in the market's service corridor, Commander Vex approaching with 4 armed guards. The Celeron female is valuable Alliance property, Vex stated coldly. Return her, and perhaps we overlook your other indiscretions. She doesn't belong to anyone, Devon spat. Incorrect. Her telepathic abilities make her an asset for our new neural navigation systems. Vex smiled thinly. Her kind connects to hyperspace in ways our technology cannot replicate. Understanding dawned like ice in Devon's veins. Not just slaves, test subjects, weapons. I would die first, he said quietly. That can be arranged, Vex replied, raising his weapon. A blast from behind knocked the commander forward. In the doorway stood Lyra, blaster still raised, her silver eyes blazing with determination. You will never cage me again, she declared, firing another shot that scattered the guards. Devon seized the moment, drawing his own weapon. Together, they fought their way back toward the docking bay, covering each other with the synchronicity of partners who trusted completely. As they reached the Starhawk, alarms blared throughout the station. They had minutes, perhaps seconds. We'll never clear the defense grid, Devon said grimly as they strapped into their seats. Lyra's hands flew over the controls with certainty. Yes, we will. Her eyes took on an otherworldly glow as she closed them, her consciousness expanding outward. Devon watched in awe as she connected to the ship in ways he'd never seen the way of her people. The gift the Alliance had tried to exploit. Under her guidance, the Starhawk moved like a living thing, anticipating the defense grid's patterns, slipping through gaps that shouldn't have existed. When they finally broke free into open space, Lyra opened her eyes, exhausted but triumphant. That was incredible, Devon whispered. That was freedom, she replied. True freedom. As the stars of hyperspace enveloped them, Devon reached for her hand across the console. Where to now? Lyra smiled, the last chains of her past finally broken. Wherever we choose, together. The Starhawk streaked through the void, carrying not a smuggler and his rescued cargo, but two equals who had found in each other the home their worlds had denied them, a bond stronger than any chain, more vast than any star system, and entirely their own creation.